Hi everyone, and welcome to another amazing workshop by Ascendance. My name is Harsha. I'll be your host for today. So, for all of you who maybe this is your first time tuning in, or you are so excited that you've forgotten everything you know about Ascendance and me and all of the people involved, don't worry, we've got you covered. Welcome to our amazing career panel with the people behind the scenes of Meta. Meta is the parent company of all of those social medias that you know and love, such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. And I know that each and every single one of you are so excited to meet them, and we'll get to that. But if you guys have any questions, if you guys have anything that you want to share, standard rules apply. Do drop your name, say hi in the chat below so that we know you're watching, and get ready for this amazing career panel. So, to start us all off, welcome once again to this workshop brought to you by Ascendance. Ascendance, as many of you may know, is an international youth movement run by students age 8 all the way up to 25 who help other youngsters discover what they love doing, go out there and get real world experiences, and come back to start their own careers that not just create a meaningful impact in their own lives, but help the communities around them. To date, Ascendance has worked with over 35,000 youngsters from 28 countries and over 900 communities. And we've even been fortunate to receive the Diana Award for Social Action and Humanitarian Work. Ascendance today also works with students for our events, for the programs that we work with. So everything that you see in today's event is brought to you by the students themselves. So the slides done by amazing 16-year-old Angela, one of our apprentices. The streaming settings done by Nurin, another 16-year-old. The comments, another 18-year-old. So everything that you do, just in the spirit of what Ascendance does, is run by students because we truly believe in the power of the young making a change to those their age and people around them as well. So, for all of you who don't know, my name is Harsha. I am the acting CEO and one of the co founders of Ascendance. I founded it with three friends back in 2016, and over the last years, we've managed to grow to where we are today, impacting thousands of lives. And one of the biggest ways that we impact people is through sharing stories of experiences that they may not be aware about. Sharing stories of individuals who have done phenomenal things, who have achieved amazing things in their careers, and bringing those stories to all of you so that you can listen to them, learn from them, and see how you can take those lessons that they have gone through and apply it in your lives as well. So we do this primarily through the Teenage Entrepreneur platform, the platform that you are using to actually watch today's event. So the Teenage Entrepreneur platform, for all of you who don't know, is a platform by Ascendance that actually hosts our events, workshops, programs, conferences, and so much more. We have over 50 live events and projects a year with over 200 live hours of content available for you guys at any given moment to watch, engage with, and even participate in. So, just to share some of the most notable, amazing things that we've done this year, we've actually had some of the global sports champion like Nicole and David, the number one squash player in the world, come in and share with us. We've had the godfather of stand-up comedy here in Southeast Asia, Harith, is going to have a session on that. We even had some Fortune 500 company execs come in and share their experience as well. And here on the Teenage Entrepreneur, we actually even hosted the New Age Learner virtual conference, which had over 100,000 viewers from students, parents, and teachers from all over the world, with delegates from 28 countries and speakers who are multiple award winning Gen Zs from 8 countries as well. So, from Tanzania, 10-year-olds who run their own startups, 16-year-olds in India who run $1 million businesses. And the point of this platform, just like the conference, just like the talks we have, is to bring these experiences and make them accessible to each and every single one of you today. So with that, that's what makes today's session extraordinarily special. We often communicate with all of you, with each other in a way through one of these three platforms: Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and a couple of others as well. And many times we use this platform without really thinking much about the people behind the scenes, the people who are keeping it alive, who are running it, who are using this platform for their clients. Well, today's session will hopefully change the way that you look at social media and help you guys figure out if this is a career that you want to be part of as well, or if this is a career that speaks to you. Because today we'll be exploring how a career in tech, specifically with this amazing organization Meta, actually is. So once again, for all of you who may know, for as a refresher for all of you, Meta is an amazing, amazing company that is the parent company, or it was formerly known as Facebook Inc. It's an American multinational technology company and that holds Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, among other subsidiaries. And it's one of the world's most valuable companies and is considered a big tech company in the US, alongside other tech giants that we often use in our day to day lives. And our panel today consists of four individuals who work for this brilliant company in making sure that others are able to utilize its services to grow using the resources that Meta provides for them. So, who are the amazing people that we'll be listening to and learning from? So, our first speaker today is Dara Rachman. She's the digital retail lead for automotive at Facebook, well, at Meta, where she and her team work with the automotive shopping sites to activate Meta's full suite of apps, services, and to help drive customer acquisition and dealer success. So, prior to Meta, she came from the programmatic space, where she led automotive businesses at places like the Trade Desk and Yahoo. So today she lives in Los Angeles and enjoys spending time outside and being with family and friends. Our second speaker is Carolyn De Mayo. She's a client solutions manager on the sales team at Meta, focusing on the automotive industry as well. She grew up in New Jersey and has a degree in economics and has lived in New York for the past 6 years. So she is someone who is absolutely amazing. She's worked in the digital advertising industry since college and has worked at, again, some very notable names, MediaMath, Vimeo. And outside of helping her clients drive meaningful business impact, she loves to travel, watch Bravo, spend time with her family, friends, and loves bike rides as well. The third speaker we have is Lennon Carricosa. Lennon is a Meta employee of 3 years who prior to Meta spent valuable time at an agency working on social as a social media community manager and strategist. He is someone who graduated from the Michigan State University and enjoys music, sports, cooking, trivia. And he's also someone who is here today to share with us how to best position oneself for career success and a healthy balance of work and life. And finally, our fourth panelist today is Daniela D'Angelo. She's been building her career in the automotive advertising industry since graduating from the University of Michigan in 2009. So, starting her career at Ford's agency of record, Mindshare, she today is part of this amazing team that we mentioned before. And even at Mindshare, she learned the fundamentals of media and gained first-hand experience working with marketing clients and vendors. From there, she moved to the sales side of advertising, working at Hearst, BBC, and finally landing at the New York Times. So, over the 7 years she spent at the New York Times, she fostered and grew the Times advertising market share in Detroit and eventually managed that Canadian market as well. So most recently, she started at Meta as a client partner on the automotive team and is excited to continue building deeper relationships with their marketing clients, agencies, and more to help grow Meta's business and move it forward. So enough from me. Without further ado, let's welcome our panelists onto our virtual stage. So hi everyone, how are you guys doing?
Hi there.
Hey, we're doing good.
Hello.
All right, we're very, very excited to have you. So everyone's tuning in from a different time zone around the world. So I think I have to pay a little respect to Dara. You're actually tuning in at 6 a.m., right?
That's right.
So, okay, so now you've got to go first and introduce yourself so that we can make sure we appreciate you as much as possible.
Well, thank you so much for the intro. So impressive. My name is Dara, and I'm very excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Next, Carolyn, would you like to just give us a quick introduction?
Yes, hi everyone. This is so exciting. Harsha, you are so amazing, and I'm so glad to be a part of this. But my name is Carolyn De Mayo, and I look forward to sharing some insights with you guys.
Amazing. Thank you. Lennon, would you like to go next?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again, Lennon Carricosa, coming to you from Detroit, Michigan area, and excited to share this experience and hopefully be given some advice and some help.
Okay. And Daniela, last but definitely not least.
Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed from our bios, but Lennon and I are rivals. We're from rival schools, so we're here to bring the heat today. We're both in Detroit as well, just representing the city that we love. But yeah, excited to be here. And Harsha, I second Carolyn. You're awesome. Thank you for having us.
Okay, you guys are too kind. So before I blush and cry, we need to move on and begin with embarrassing all of you instead. So now that you're here, I'm going to torture you with a little bit of a rapid fire just to get to know you a little bit and find out hopefully some exciting insights for our audience. Feel free to play along. Give us your answers in the comments below. Make sure you drop a hello. So we have someone else called Daniela as well. We have someone called Shalini. We have Hazik. We have Marissa. So, all right, keep the comments going, guys. All right, so to begin our rapid fire, I've got to ask something extremely, extremely confidential, I would say controversial, that would probably be absolutely terrible. But I'm going to start with the would you rather. So, would you rather give up your favorite food or Wi Fi? No? Wanna
I'd
take it?
I'd probably say my favorite food. I'd find another favorite. I need to be connected.
All right, thank you. That was my
Same.
answer. All right.
Same. I second Lennon.
I say Wi-Fi. See you later. I gotta
Same.
eat.
What
How
food
can I
was
give
so
up
good that you
cheese?
gave up Wi-Fi?
You know what? I love pizza. I know it sounds really lame, but it makes me happy,
Hey.
So
I
That was
respect
the
that.
that was the only food that was allowed to surpass Wi-Fi. All right. Okay. Cool. Next question. All right. I know you guys probably like love all of your, I don't know, the children of Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp equally. But if you could only pick one, like on a personal capacity, and like you could only use one of these services, which one would it be?
I think Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, and
Same.
2 Instagram friends. All right, 3. Oh my God, I feel so bad. I'm sorry, Facebook. I love you.
No, it's okay. We're Instagram. We like Instagram. We like it all. It's all part of the family.
All right, it's all part of the family. But unless there was a fire and you could only save one child, the child would be Instagram. Got it. All right. Okay, audience, let us know. Audiences, Instagram as well. They also said that like they would save their favorite food. So I don't know if you can trust our audience. But yeah, most of them say Instagram, of course. All right, very scary. All right, I don't know if you guys read, but like you guys are in the tech industry, so this is something that's like I've got personal beef with. All right, so would you like, or do you prefer reading a physical book, an audiobook, or an ebook?
Oh, come on. I came from the New York Times, so of course I like a physical. I'm like the oldest one on this panel too, I'm sure. So I definitely, I'm just gonna call it out now at the top. I love a physical book. I don't think that's gonna go away. There's something magical about opening a book and reading it. So I'm physical book all the way.
All right. Okay. I respect that. I love that answer. But the pressure is on the 3 of you now. Like,
I would
which
say
one?
ebook for me. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I guess maybe that's like part of that like audiobook bridge, but I would say ebook if I'm reading a book. I consume things quicker on my phone, so I think that would probably be the easier route for me.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. I think audiobook for me.
So one for audiobook, one for ebook, one for physical book. Dara, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm the tiebreaker. I'm gonna agree with Danielle. I like a physical book. I like passing it around to friends, having it just in case I want to read it again. And it's hard to take an ebook to the beach.
Yeah.
True.
The touch, the feel, the smell, there is something about a physical book. I respect it.
But you sold it out for both ebook and audiobook.
There
I
you
see.
go.
All right.
We're salespeople. We're salespeople.
Okay. All right. Audience, there's a little fight breaking out because nobody can decide physical book, audiobook. The ebook has been completely left out, but all right, never mind. And our final question for our rapid fire. So, if you had to get rid of one device at home, what device would it be? It could be a laptop, it could be a phone, maybe you throw out your refrigerator. But if you had to get rid of one device, what would it be?
Ooh.
I think I'd throw out my husband's Xbox.
Yes.
Does alarm clock count?
Yeah, there we go. Yes, Lennon.
I could probably get rid of a TV.
Same. I was gonna say TV.
Yeah,
I was gonna say TV.
I can watch on my laptop or phone if I need it. I don't need a full TV sometimes.
What?
Same.
No, okay, just give it to me. Then I'll have like TV.
There you
and
go. Just you
that
have
will
a
work for me.
full theater
Like,
on the wall. There you go.
All right, Carolyn.
I think I would throw out my iPad because I don't really use it.
There you go.
All right, audience. They're throwing out their TVs. Someone throws out their phone. Why would you do that? Like someone else said they throw out their fan. All right, like suffer in heat, I guess. But all right, I guess the consensus is the TV's getting the chop. All right, I see how you guys are. Like first you watch the TV nonstop, now you're getting rid of it. All right, thanks, kids. But anyway, I guess that's a good rapid fire to get us all to know each other better. I now know where I need to go if I ever need to get an Xbox, or if I ever need to, like, I don't know, like get an ebook recommendation. So I guess like this has been a pretty like enlightening like beginning. But moving on to kind of like the deeper stuff, you guys all seem like extremely fun and amazing people. And you're definitely successful from those intros that I gave. And you guys have had so much experiences and you seem to have like everything figured out. So I've got to like, from the point of view of a college student who probably has nothing figured out compared to you guys, I've got to like take you guys back in time a little bit. Have you guys always been like this smart and well put together? Or were you once as confused and as lost as the rest of us poor children in a sense?
I don't think that I'm that now. So I don't. Full disclosure, but no, I think generally we've all gone through journeys and we learn about ourselves and what we like and what we don't like, and it doesn't all come at once. So I think there's definitely a process, and you continue to learn throughout your career, even once you do get settled into something that you like or something that you get comfortable doing. As they say, you should never be comfortable being uncomfortable.
All right. Okay. Good advice. But how were you like in college? Since we have someone from your rival school to kind of like, I don't know, like defeat any or find the weaknesses. I'm sorry for putting you both on this panel. But how were you like in a sense when you were first starting out?
For me, I think I was similar to a lot of people, and probably a lot of people that are joining today, is I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to enjoy myself in school and have a good time with the college experience and go out and hang out with friends. But I also cared about my academics and, making sure that I was able to set myself up for success when I graduated. So I think it was the beginning of finding that kind of time management and that balance to be able to say, okay, what can I do work-wise? Can I get this done in my schoolwork so that I'm not stressing myself out later if I do want to go to a football game or do want to go out and have a drink with some friends or something like that. So I think it was, learning to balance and, shedding some of that procrastination that I probably had in high school and even in the first couple of years of college. But I think that was my experience for sure. And I didn't want to have any regrets. I wanted to make sure I could do everything too. So.
Okay. You probably made a few people in the comment, like, I don't know, like cry a little bit, because I'm sure that's like what they're going through as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Carolyn, what about you? Tell us a bit about how you were prior to your time in Meta, or like even when you were a student in a sense, first starting out.
Yeah. So I guess I've always been interested in digital marketing and how compelling marketing campaigns could drive consumer behavior. I always thought that was super interesting. And as I got to college, I took a class called marketing science. And really the class was about understanding how like analytics and creative work together to help advertisers achieve their business goals. And then I started to dive even further, and I started to understand that there kind of is this underground economy that powers the internet, where advertisers are trying to get their message in front of people to achieve their business objectives. So all of that kind of was like swirling in my mind, and I didn't want to go the traditional like TV PR route. I wanted to do something that was a bit more data heavy. So I like stumbled upon media math, which is a ad tech company, programmatic. I did an internship there, and then after college, I actually entered this rotational program called the Marketing Engineer Program, which really allowed me to understand like the full breadth of the ecosystem and where my strengths were, where I could fit in, what I really like doing. There are a lot of bumps along the road. But I think ultimately like that passion that I had in college, again, kind of going back to the compelling marketing campaigns is what has helped me with that journey and helped me get where I am today.
Oh, wow, that's a really beautiful answer, and I think it's also like a good reminder to all of us to kind of like see what's compelling to us, or like what resonates to us right now. Like I know like prior to being a census acting CEO, I was their chief marketing officer, and one of the things that I love doing is scrolling through my Insta stories and like just for the ads. So I'll just like ignore what everyone's doing. I'll just be like, this ad, why does it work? Or like, so that's one of the things that I do in my free time. Don't hate me, friends and like students who are now wondering if I ever saw your Insta stories. I'm sorry. Dara, what about you? How were you like?
Yeah, as a student, I was very focused on getting good grades. I played a sport in college, so it was kind of part of the deal where had to get good grades to maintain that collegiate athlete. So I was very focused on getting good grades. I actually majored in public relations, which was definitely not what I'm doing now. And that's totally okay. So there's definitely people out there that are doing things outside of what they majored in. So yeah, I majored in public relations, and then after I graduated, really started my career in the advertising space. Worked at an ad agency for a couple years, and then moved into the advertising technology space, where I worked at Yahoo for a couple years. Like Carolyn, I came from a programmatic background, and then started my career at Meta.
Okay, very cool. And Daniela, I heard a little like before the scenes, like before the show gossip, that you were one of us as well who weren't so sure what to pursue when you were doing your degree.
Yeah, so like any good brown kid, I wanted to be like my dad, who was an engineer, is an engineer still to this day. He's quite amazing, trailblazer for someone who came to America when he did and started a career here. But yeah, so I originally went to U of M for engineering to follow in his footsteps. And after about a year of that, I realized this is not for me. What am I thinking? I got to get out of here. So I actually moved to LA for a little while, tried to do the whole creative side of my brain. So Lennon and I talk about this a lot, but I love to sing and do music. And I think that's like been the central part of my struggle even now. I have this creative side, and then I have this analytical side, and it's finding the happy medium between them. And so my college journey was that. So like I started off with engineering. I went to LA, did acting, did all that sort of stuff. Ended up coming back to finish. My mom was like, just come back and finish your degree. You just need a degree. Just get a degree from Michigan. Just come on. So I came back and I tried to marry that. So I was like, let me try architecture, because that's like kind of marrying the creative with the analytical. And then that wasn't good for me. And then the sage advice of my older sister was like, what about comms, Danielle? Like communications? Like, she's like, that could be it. And I'm like, okay. And I was like also watching the clock go down, like I need to graduate at some point here. So I hustled hard, and I ended up with a degree in communications, and I'm quite thankful for that. And I think, the big part of being a student, you're never not a student, right? Your whole life, you're a student, you're always learning. And I think, like Lennon said, you're learning about yourself, but you're also learning about the world around you. And I think like that's the deepest thing I took away from college, was like, I was able to kind of clunk through it through trial and error and figure out, here's my strengths, here's my weaknesses, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. And then I happened into advertising, and I haven't looked back since. So.
Oh my God, that is such a really good story, because I feel like many of us are in that position where we are navigating so many things that we forget that there's a good side to that. You get those strengths, you get those weaknesses, you get that understanding about yourself in that process of navigating. So, like, to everyone watching, I feel like one thing that I take away from that story is also not to be too much in a rush to have everything figured out in the beginning, because it's okay if you don't know. Like, you can jump, like, you can figure it out, you can take that process in a way.
It
I'll,
must
Yeah,
be
I
a,
mean,
yeah, go ahead, Len.
no, I was gonna
yeah, go
say
ahead.
it must be a child of an immigrant thing, because I started as a pre-med. I thought I was gonna be a doctor,
Yeah.
and I did that for about 2 years, and was working my way through the classes, and I was like, this is kind of hard. I don't know if I want to do this, be in school for the next 15 years. So I switched it up, and I started doing some public relations and things like that, and ended up with communication degree and a minor in public relations, and then switched over to advertising. And so it's definitely a journey, and I think, like you said, you have to continue to you know find out what you like, and there's no rush to figure it out. And I think that's a missed opportunity sometimes with the pressure that we feel in the traditional system of going to school and having to have a degree and figure it out right away and get into a career right away, is that there's no rush really, and you can take your time and figure out what you like.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I remember I used to have a fleeting childhood dream of being a lawyer. So I think we complete that doctor, engineer, lawyer thing. So, all right, good job. But how did you discover that the thing that you were passionate about was this whole social media arena? Was it just a point that, I don't know, it came in a dream, or a strike of lightning inspired you? Or was it with that trial and error process as well? Um, Dara, do you want to like start us off?
Yeah, I coming from absolutely no social experience, I kind of was very intrigued working at Facebook or Meta, because of the fact that it was definitely stepping outside of my comfort zone. And I still feel uncomfortable on a daily basis, which to Lennon's point, it's being comfortable with the uncomfortable. I love that saying. So I think that what inspired me to work here is the fact that just for that reason, having no social experience and just wanting to be challenged. And I think that's one of the best things about working at Meta, is the fact that you're working with so many smart people on a daily basis, and you're at least I'm challenged every single day. So that was kind of the big, inspiration or starting point for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say I have similar experience to Dara. We have similar backgrounds, and I didn't have really much social experience coming to Facebook, but I did know in my career that I wanted to work at a big company, whether it was a Google, an Amazon, or a Facebook. I knew I wanted that experience in my life, but I would say it's consistently a challenge to make sure that you are keeping up with all of the different product updates, everything that's happening in the industry, understanding how our clients are thinking about social media as it relates to their overall strategy. But I think it's a journey, but something that I have found a lot of energy from.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Len?
No, sure. I was just going to add to that. I think it's something where it kind of, fell in my lap as a situation where I was looking for things that I could do as a career with my degree. And I was, active on social media in my own personal life, as most people are. You like to post, you like to try to think of clever, stories and tweets and things like that. And I realized that it could be a job. Someone kind of presented that to me, and I said, this is kind of cool. Maybe I'll try that out. And so I was fortunate enough to have, an agency that was starting up and doing some automotive social media. So they needed some young people to come in. And I was one of the first people that started at an agency that was just starting. And so it was cool to be on the ground floor of that and kind of build up the, potential of the agency. And it was really cool to just fall into that. And from there, learn that you actually like what you're doing and you enjoy the side of social media and different aspects of what goes into the content and creative side and the measurement side and analytics and media and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of dimensions to it. And I think you can find your strengths and go in that direction.
Cool. And Daniela, what about you? You're multi-talented, like acting, this, that, and all of that. Like, I wish I could be as talented as you in a sense. So
No.
how did social media like capture your attention?
Well, I'll answer this, but there was a question in the comments too. I'd love to hit too, Harsha, because that's a good question. But I'll start off answering yours first. But I think for me, I was actually from a very traditional. Like I said, I feel like I'm like a touch older than these beautiful people around me. So I was like the first official digital media planner at Ford's advertising agency when I started, and so like digital was this omnious thing, like it's going to take over everything, and we have to know what's going on, and you know what I mean. And so like kind of Lennon, they pulled me in as a young person out of college, like, hey, figure this stuff out and help us figure it out, which was exciting. But I never really touched social media. I've obviously been a fan of it and enjoying the products and the services, of course, from a consumer standpoint. But I was working at the New York Times for 7 years, and got to see them evolve as a brand and as a product, from something very traditional to very, digital first. And so I knew I wanted this kind of experience under my belt. And, like what Dara and Carolyn were saying, every day is challenging for me here since I've started. And that's really important to me personally. I want to continue to grow and learn and add a tool to my tool belt, so I can be someone who's quite frankly hireable and want someone that's going to have a long career. So because you know what, we don't work for free. We got to make money. We have lives, right? So it's a little give and take. It's like, hey, I would love to, and I'm really a nerd on the inside. So I was super pumped to come over to Meta during this time because of the metaverse and in the future of that. So that's something that not only was the experience of the social media part really awesome, but the future of what's ahead really excited me too.
Okay. We
But
also have a question in the audience, as you mentioned. Do you want to take that too?
yeah, so I think that I love that question. So to the person who have you ever felt like giving up, and if yes, how did you handle it? I can pretty much tell you that was my college time, was like literally learning determination and perseverance, because I felt like giving up a lot, to be quite honest and to be transparent. And there was a lot of times I had to really take a hard look at my mental health. So like after my first year of going through engineering, it was tough. It was tough to think this thing I had wanted and envisioned for so long. I didn't necessarily have the skills or the heart to do that, to see it through. And so I definitely remember, this is a moment where I will never forget. I was sitting across the kitchen table with my mom, who's really wise. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And she looked at me and she's like, okay, that's okay. She's like, what can you do? And I was like, dang, Mom, you're so wise. Thank you for loving me. I was like the black sheep of my family. My older sister's a counselor and my other sister's a doctor. She's a pediatrician. So I'm like over here trying to be like an actor, like trying to live my life. But I've always had that support for my family. And I don't think everyone is offered that, but find your community, find the people that are going to push you to be the best you can be, and also have the compassion when you're in your lows, because that's definitely a part of being an adult. I mean, we've all experienced that now, with these past couple trying years for the global community. And I think being real with yourself, asking for help when you need help, and then knowing it will get better and you will find your way. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I answered that, because that's a deep question and I like deep questions. So
Beautifully answered, like really beautifully answered. And building on that a little bit, on kind of like the challenges that you guys have had in your careers, as Carolyn mentioned earlier, this is exciting times. It's something amazing, and I think all of you have touched on how it's an industry that is growing, that is probably going to take over the world, that has probably taken over the world as well. But coming with that, I feel like many people want to get into this, they want to be part of this in a way, but they may not always have their expectations right, or they may. And I feel like personally, like even just thinking about social media from my own perspective as a business owner, like prior, like using it on a personal basis and using it as a professional in a professional capacity is very, very different. There's so many different things that you have to think about. For you in your own careers, what have been or two of the core challenges that you faced, whether it is learn like being part of this fast-paced industry or in a as an individual and professional setting? What do you think was your main challenge, and how do we begin to even think about it and overcome it in a sense?
I can start here. I think some of the biggest challenges or things I've had to learn in my career is number one being self-advocacy. I think I come from a very traditional Italian family, and it's always been if you put your head down and do the work and excel at the task at hand, like things will come. And there is some validity to that. But I also think the other piece is making sure that you are sharing your work with the right people, building your network and making those connections and showing people your strengths and what you can bring to the table based on the good work you're doing. So definitely a challenge for me has been speaking up and making sure that I am sharing my work appropriately.
Okay.
I think that's great. And I can add to that a little bit too, as far as the challenges. I think no matter what role or what company or career you choose, I think you end up with this shock to the system on like, this is my job. I'm actually doing this. I have a ton of responsibility. I think for me, it was like, wait, I'm actually doing this right now. Like, this is not just a test. I'm not an intern. There's no one that's going to repeat this 100 times. Like, I'm responsible. And I think owning that responsibility and bringing some confidence to it will take you a long way, no matter what situation you're in. And so I think just remembering to be confident and trust yourself, and to Carolyn's point, advocating for yourself when you need to is important too. And to, trust your abilities, and, you're in the position that you're in for a reason, and you've earned everything that you receive. So you just remember that, and don't get discouraged when things go wrong, and always learn, always continue to learn. So.
Okay, I love that advice, because especially that part you mentioned where, am I really doing this? Because one of the things that my brain has to constantly switch forth between student mode and work mode, and like many times it's like it's a shock, as you said, because like nobody's grading you, nobody's gonna tell you if you scored like a 95 or like an 85. So it's like you really have to start like figuring that out, and self ownership, self advocacy. Those are kind of like the big building blocks that kind of like that help you process all of that and actually move forward. So like absolutely brilliant advice. Dara, what about you? Like what's your challenge, I'd say, that we can unconvert today?
Yeah, so I think Danielle actually joined. She joined after me, so she's actually the newest member. But before that, I would say I mean, to this day, I still struggle a little bit with imposter syndrome, especially at Facebook and definitely at some of my other jobs where, like, to Lennon's point, I'm like, am I actually here? Like, am I doing a good job? Like, I struggle with that a little bit. And just figuring out, trying to find the correct resource. It's, such a big company, and it can often be overwhelming to find, combing through the right resource or finding the right person to talk to. And I think in those two challenges, what I've found for me to work is finding that core support system and just really leaning in. And there's definitely days where I'm working and I'm just like, what am I doing here? Am I doing a good job? And it's okay to have those feelings, and to lean into your support system and say, here's where my head's at, and having them to support you to kind of pull you out of that funk. That's been super helpful for me.
Okay. I feel like just yesterday I was actually having a conversation with one of our students about that. And just a week ago I was having a conversation with one of my mentors about that. So you definitely hit the nail on the head, that I feel like I don't know if that ever goes away, but like it's nice to know that someone like successful as you still goes through that. Makes me feel at least a little bit more human, and like there's hope for me still. So like thank you for sharing that. And like Daniela, what about you? Tell us about your challenges.
Yeah, I agree with Dara. I think syndrome, imposter syndrome is a real thing, for sure. I think for me, my biggest struggle as of late, like it's very specific to being new at Meta, is that I don't necessarily have that deep tech knowledge or experience as well. So I think, you're struggling with the imposter syndrome in that arena, but then also like finding the strategic opportunities for me to really learn and understanding what I need to learn and what I can kind of let go. You know what I mean? Like there's certain, I'm not going to ever know everything, right? Let's just put that out there. None of us are going to know everything. And like to Dara's point, that's why we build this community of people around us that can help inform us and we're stronger together. But I think like, where am I going to find my sweet spot? Like what's my identity going to be within Meta in my team? So that's really what I'm trying to carve out and understand. And it's a challenge for me because, at Meta, there's a lot of really talented, smart people. And so I think trying to add value and find what your value is can be challenging because, there's people sitting next to you that are just as good, if not better. So that's something I'm working on and is a challenge for me, and that hopefully I can carve out a path for myself soon.
Yeah, and I think just quickly, I wanted to add, I think that's a great point, and I always think about it as your whole life throughout school and career path. It's so competitive, and then you get to your actual career and it becomes a lot more collaborative. So you don't have to compete against the person next to you to do better. You work with them and they might be smarter, and you learn to accept that, hey, I can just lean on this person for that, versus thinking, oh, I have to learn more than them or things like that. And especially for Dara, like you're saying, you played 4 years of D1 sports. Like it's hard to shake that when you have that competitive nature in you across your whole life. So it's something that's an adjustment, and it's hard to remember, but it's important too.
Very, very interesting. And I think like moving into kind of like talking a little bit about teams and collaboration is something that I definitely want to get into, because one of the things that that we do at Ascendance is we often put a lot of the student or like more often than not, our students work on real life projects. So even things like setting up events like this or running a startup, and they're put into teams. And again, it's about switching kind of like that brain from always being told get number one, get the highest, like don't share your answers, to now having to work with people in a real life setting and have deliverables where you need to like rely on someone if you're going to achieve them, which is a big kind of like of a shift in mindset. So we actually had some of our students like send in a couple of questions on that whole arena of like working together as a team. So maybe we can take a question from one of our students, Maha. She's actually our head of communication. She's 18. So yeah, take it away to our StreamYard team.
So hi everyone, my name is Maha and I am the head of communications of Ascendance. So my question to you guys is, in terms of teamwork, how do you guys ensure that your whole team is in the right mind when you guys are handling tough situations? That's all.
All right, thanks Maha for your question. Who would like to go first? Lennon, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great question, and I think it goes back to kind of my previous answer when it talks about like, and you mentioned it too, like the difficulty with collaborating. And in school, I feel like we all dreaded group projects, and then you realize when you get into your career that your entire career is a group project, so you have to adjust a little bit, but you have to rely on other people. So I think communication is obviously the basic answer, but I think it's super important is just to make sure everyone's on the same page, and everyone can be having a role that they can excel at, and no one is feeling out of place. So just establishing kind of a plan from the beginning, I think, is a good way to handle collaboration, and making sure that everyone's on the same page and everyone is supported too, so that they don't feel like they just have this responsibility and they're not contributing to anything else. So kind of just having that collaboration, and you learn that over time, and you learn that from other people, and you learn what you like and what you don't like and what you're good at, and you kind of form your own strengths and weaknesses that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carolyn, what about you?
And just to add to that, I think like one aspect of working at Meta, especially within our roles, is that we work in very close-knit teams, and taking the time during your career to really get to know the person. What are their strengths? what are their weaknesses, how can you collaborate together to make sure that everyone is kind of playing to the things that they like to do versus the things they don't like to do. And one thing that I've actually also found to be helpful is kind of having like a creed or like a mission statement for your team. So when there are challenging things that come about, if there's mistakes, if there's problems, like kind of using the creed as a reference point to guide us forward with a resolution or any sort of conflict.
Okay. Daniela, what about you? How do you guide your team or bring your team together during stormy, like patches in the journey, in a way?
Yeah, I think there's three things. One, in advertising and marketing, our clients can escalate very quickly. And it's really important for all of us to remember, I like to say this is a very overused and, probably outdated thing to say, but this is not brain surgery. This is not rocket. We're not saving lives. You know what I mean? I think perspective is extremely important sometimes when we're tackling some of these really tough situations. And, so I think that's the first thing, is to like make sure that you're maintaining perspective. And a part of that, like built under that, is the fact that we are all still humans at the end of the day. So take the time to pause and ask the person or ask your team member, how are you? What's going on with you? Like, work is a big part of our lives, but it's only a part of it. So, like there's a lot going on that we bring to work with us that remains unsaid. Obviously, we spend a lot of time together, and to Carolyn's point, we're a tight knit crew. So it's like having that sensitivity to each other. And I'm still new and I'm still learning, but like, that's something I hope to bring to my team as we grow and we work together more, is just like stopping, especially in this virtual world, and saying like, hey, like, we can't have those conversations we have over the computer or over our desks, about like our kids or whatever, everything is very regimented, because we have
meeting after another,
one meeting, like running in between to get, a coffee or something. So, just the perspective of understanding that like, this is important work, but it's not life-saving work. And there's a difference. And, then understanding that we're human and that, we're better when we get to see our whole selves. So like Carolyn and I got to sit on, a group that talks about, inclusivity in our backgrounds as humans. And that was one of the most satisfying experiences I've had at a company, because it was, and just the fact that we were willing to do that and have these hard conversations and share that part of ourselves, to me, is really important, because I think that makes us all a better team. And I think that allows us to understand the different strengths and barriers and things that we deal with as a human.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to close out, I love Danielle's first bullet point about perspective, because I think that would be my answer as well. Is during difficult times, it's just taking a step back and realizing, like, maybe just taking a step back, pausing work, and then just connecting from a human level, and remembering that, while sometimes it feels like we are doing brain surgery and saving lives, at the end of the day, like, we just have to remember that we're all human, and having perspective, and being able to connect with your teammates, I think is key. And then I think in terms of just effective, having that, when I think of an effective team player, I just think of open communication, like Lennon mentioned, having that transparent and honest conversations with your teammates, and then also having that accountability factor, taking ownership, and know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that those two things kind of help in terms of teamwork and collaboration.
Very, very well said, all of you. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this and like sink those answers into my brain. I'm not gonna lie, I have a tendency to escalate like or like spiral when I'm like in a tough situation. So I definitely think, for the sake of my team, I promise I will rewatch and absorb and like apply that. So like, thank you all for sharing. we do have another question a bit on teamwork, but also on a topic that we touched on a little bit on clients. So this is actually a question from Nurin. Nurin is 14 years old. 16 years old. Sorry, Nurin just corrected me. She's 16 years old, and she's also a part of our team and who's been working very closely with clients, with with other students, and with many more of our partners as well. So, Nurin, please brace us with your question.
Hey besties, my name is Noreen Adhadamia. I am one of Ascendant's apprentices, and I just have this one question. Okay, so like, how do you regain a client's trust when your team accidentally made a mistake and made your client unsatisfied? Thank you.
All right, very, very scary question, and something that I think I personally have nightmares about until today. But like, how do you actually like regain a client's trust? Like, please tell me the golden secret so I can sleep better at night a little bit. Dara, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Well, first of all, mistakes happen all the time. We're all human. I think in terms of regaining clients' trust, I think what has been successful for me is basically being open and honest about what happened, just being upfront and saying, "Hey, this is a situation. This is what happened," and then outlining a process of how to ensure outlining a process to ensure that specific mistake will not happen again. That's has been successful for me. I mean, I've made mistakes. I continue to make mistakes, but I think as long as you have outlined the process of what happened, so maybe in the future you can look back to that process to say, okay, these are the steps that I'm going to take moving forward to ensure that specific mistake won't happen.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I think upfront expressing empathy and trying to level with the team members that are upset about the mistake. And I also think like clearly breaking down like where the issue occurred, so they can tell their higher ups what happened, and make sure everyone is kind of aware of where the breakdown occurred. And then I think to Dara's point, like really articulating what you're going to be doing differently in the future to avoid the mistake. And honestly, sometimes in the world of advertising, providing an ad credit or a make good and making sure everyone feels good about the situation, and it won't happen again in the future.
Okay. Lennon, Daniela, please do add on.
Yeah, I was gonna say similar to what Dara was saying is like taking ownership of it. I think owning it, admitting your fault if you did make a problem, I think is a big move, and it's smart to do. Don't get too defensive, don't get too precious about your work and things. The client is not always right, but you have to serve them and do your job that way. So I think just accepting fault sometimes and admitting and then finding a solution, I think, is the key. In any conversation, I think a lot of times we run into it just in normal conversation where someone has a complaint about something, but they don't have a solution in place of that. So I think always come prepared with a solution, to the problem, or to, think it through and utilize your team, talk to others, and try to get some perspective as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. My very good mentor of mine, she was one of my first bosses. She always said to me, I was her assistant and planner, and she would say, the answer is never just no. Like to Lennon's point, the answer is no, but with a solution. So I think that's the thing that with clients is really important. And I think everyone said it really eloquently, but just, obviously taking ownership, accountability is really important. Transparency is really important. And finally, integrity. And I think also just being patient. So like after that riff happens, understanding that there's going to be a time where you need to tread very lightly and over to, Lennon's point, over communicate, make sure you're going out of your way. I think something I like to do with clients, especially now since we're very like email heavy in our communication, is just follow up. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, I understand we're still working to get out of this problem. Ask for feedback. Are we doing okay? Is there anything more we can be doing? I know we talked about this plan. How are you feeling now a week later? You know what I mean? So having those touch points with through open communication is going to help them feel like you're continuing to put them first. And just saying that, quite frankly, I think we don't say it often enough. Like, hey, we care about your partner. I say that in almost every email, and it's probably annoying, but I think you can never say it too much. We value your partnership. We value, what you're bringing to the table and our collaboration. Just saying that in an email over the phone is really important too.
Yeah, and just one thing to add there, I think, to the point of like communicating in like a virtual environment, I have found success with just picking up the phone and doing like a walk and talk, and asking the client how they're doing, getting a sense of what's going on outside of like just us looking at each other on a screen, but being like, hey, like let's take a 15-minute walk, and just chat from there.
Okay, I think this is very, very solid advice. And I know personally, like many of the student entrepreneurs we do work with face this like all the time, and it's something that I personally face too as well. So like, thank you so much for sharing. Like, and like to everyone else who said that they want to know the golden secret too in the comments, like I hope that you guys can process this and apply it as well. And just like that, I feel like this whole panel has been full of so many gems, so many amazing things that I personally can take away from. And thank you all for actually spending your time with us and being part of like today's session. But like just to kind of like wind down and wrap up, if there's one thing that you could tell to every youngster out there and just like implant it in their brain that you feel is absolutely necessary for them to know, what would they need to know to have a successful career? So shall we start with Daniela? I feel like we always get to you last, so we should, start like spice things up.
I that's a tough question, but I will do my best to inspire. I'm going to get real basic. I think you are capable, you are wise, and you are able. And I think as I think it's important to know that about yourself. Obviously, there's a lot of young people watching who have already accomplished so much in so little time. But pausing to understand how far you've come is important. And I think that will prep you and give you the motivation to keep going, and giving yourself grace, I think I think that's part of that mantra of like, yeah, you are able, you're capable, and you can, and knowing that and giving yourself grace when the stumbles happen. But going back to that place of knowing, yeah, I can do this, and I'm gonna make it.
Absolutely lovely. Simple, but very hard to apply. So like, you're able, you're capable, and you can. All right. I'll definitely repeat that to myself like during a next crisis. Dara, what about you?
Yeah, I would say best career advice is to always know your worth. Continue to ask for feedback, ways to improve. I've found that for me, that's how you truly get better and just continue to move up. Set goals for yourself and work with your support team, work with your manager, your peers, whoever, to achieve it. And don't ever get complacent, just get determined.
Okay. That, like, I had a few slaps in that to myself. So like, thank you. Like, Carolyn?
Yeah, I think the best, I don't know if it's advice as much as it is a statement, but careers are really long. You don't really need, like, as much as you want to plan and figure out the next step and have that vision, like, you never really know what's going to happen. You never know, like, the opportunities that are going to come about. Your passions might shift. Like, so that for me, like I really just try to like live in the present and do my work in the present, and you know, just continue to enjoy this journey.
Okay, you're right. I've never thought of it that way. Okay, I like. All right, I like that. I really do. Len.
Yeah, I love that too. I think that's a great reminder that, you know, you don't have to do everything right now. But for me, I think I had mentioned it earlier, but just never stop learning and always be open to new opportunity. Never sell yourself short on that. I think for me, a change in my career came when I was actually approached about a job at another company, and someone reached out to me, and I was kind of surprised, like, wait, I can get a job somewhere else. And I think that was like a wake up call to, like, you know, believe in yourself and trust your abilities and have some confidence. So I think it's a great thing to just remember throughout your career that, you know, you're in control of your life and your career and your decisions, and take advantage of that, and just take chances. Honestly, I think that's probably the best advice I ever got, was just take chances. Don't be scared. Careers are long. You can tie everything into that. You know, it's like you can have time to make it up, especially when you're young. I mean, I'm going to be 30 soon, so I'm young, and it's like, seems old, but it's like you have so much ahead of you. And so just like take the chance, and, you know, it's like you can make up for it. You have time. So just don't leave yourself short, and take chances. So
I was gonna do a wrap up, but I think you did a better wrap up than me, Lennon. So thank you. And like honestly, I've had so much fun in today's panel, and I really, really like appreciate all of you spending your time with us. Also to Shannon for organizing all of this. Thank you so much,
thank
and to
you.
Kim who couldn't make it today, but was the reason we have all of this. So thank you everyone, and like I really do hope that we'd be able to see you guys again in the future and get more words of wisdom. If you guys want, I don't know if it's like I can ask them to follow you on Instagram. I'm sure you guys are all on Instagram, right? So like give them some new followers, guys. Make sure you guys follow them, send your love and thanks in the comments, and let's all give them our good thoughts, so that hopefully one day when they're, I don't know, famous, and I don't know, all billionaires who are, I don't know, who are like speaking on like world stages, they'll remember us and come back and share with us some more. So thank you all for your time. It's been absolutely lovely. And to our audience, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you guys have any other questions, drop it in the chat. We'll see what we can do. And thank you all so much for being part of it. If you guys enjoyed today's workshop and you somehow, or today's panel, and you still somehow are not part of our platform, how? But do join Ascendance. You get access to over 50 live events, projects, activities here on the Teenage Entrepreneur platform that we've built for all of you. And we are really passionate about making sure each of you have access to these opportunities every day, at any time that you need the inspiration, that you need these beautiful words of wisdom. So we're gonna end with the QR code. Make sure you scan it, subscribe, check out the other videos and the other sessions that we have. We have these workshops and panels monthly, many of them weekly as well. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. And I guess our panel for today has come to an end. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you guys. It was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to everyone.